All right. Hello, this is a project by me, Evan Richardson, and Matthew DeLon on business and social customs. Okay, for the customs, behaviors are generally expected in different situations, like across the country and across different nations, where you do business and different transactions. And it's socially accepted different ways in different circumstances all across the world. And customs can vary from place to place and regions where you do business. And they can include such things as verbal communication, nonverbal communication, appearance, and male and female relationships. And it's important to understand certain customs when you're doing business and conducting business in different parts around the world. So verbal expressions, it's important to be able to communicate with people from other countries when you're doing business with people that you may be unfamiliar with. So not necessarily learning languages, but being able to communicate verbally as well as non-verbally. And it's important to know certain expressions such as greetings, like hello, thank you, and in France it'd be bonjour. It's also important to know meanings of certain phrases, catchphrases, and different meanings. And it may mean one thing, say in South America, and it could be different in North America. So like in the South, like we say y'all, and up north they say you all. In not all cases, it's an open invite to come back when we say goodbye, and other times in this culture. So verbal etiquette, one must know that this is not, or all verbal communication when interacting with someone from another country or another culture, and knowing when to use humor and when not to use humor. So, for example, in the U.S., several other countries, it's acceptable to use humor in business practices or like business propositions when you're using business. In Australia, cultures frequently use put down in order to build friendship among workers. And in Asian culture, insults they take it personally and are not well accepted and should be avoided if not sure about the cultural norms. So the way you dress and appearances in different cultures and when you conduct business, an example, in men, you wear like sports coats, button downs, and ties such. Women's, they usually wear suits or a casual dress, like a nice fitting dress. People in the U.S. tend to see someone as professional when they're wearing, say, like a suit, tie, nice slacks, and then shoes to match. And in Asia, men wear suit, ties, and button downs similar to the U.S. Women usually cover up with long sleeves and pants. In Canada, it's similar to the U.S. With men's formal dress as well as women's formal dress with like button downs, ties, slacks, and nice shoes to match. In France, they're very, very fashion conscious and considered a leader in fashion. So it's important to know the norms, but if not, a suit is acceptable in most conditions when you're conducting business. Okay. So the male and female relationships in a workplace and equality is very important across all norms, cultures, and across when you're conducting business. So you want high context societies. Examples in Arabian culture, people have definite ideas on what constitutes proper behavior between men and women, especially in business transactions. And in these cultures, men have more higher standings than women. Women rarely get a chance to move up in society, voice their opinions, and are sometimes seen lower in business transactions than men are. Low context societies such as US, Canada, and Europe, women are treated equally as men and hold the same power as well as positions as men. And women are able to move up in society, get higher positions, higher standing jobs, as well as voice their opinions rather freely.
Alright, on that. Holidays and knowing when to do business. It's important to know certain days and holidays in other countries when trying to conduct business. For example, people traveling to the U.S., they shouldn't conduct business on Christmas, Easter, or Thanksgiving, as those are really important days in our culture. Sundays are usually seen as a religious day as well as a day of relaxation, and most places don't conduct business on this day. Like Israel, Saturdays is their Sabbath day, so they generally don't hold any business conversations on this day. Office customs and practices. Typical work hours, lunch and break time, behavior, hiring, firing process, work hours, etc. In the U.S., an average workday is from 9 to 5. That's 30 to 60 minutes with a lunch break and 15 minutes in the morning and afternoon with breaks. Employees are expected to stay busy even during idle times. You have to kind of walk around, find something to do to keep yourself busy. In Europe, 9 to 5 is kind of your typical workday, and you have about an hour and a half lunch break and two 20-minute break periods, a 15 end of the day period for cleanup and make sure everything's clean in your area. In countries outside the U.S., employees feel free to other things rather than find work during slow periods, especially when supervisors are not in the office. Hiring and firing practices, those vary across different cultures. For example, like the U.S., people are hired with an understanding that promotions and pay are dependent on your performance at the job and satisfaction, as well as getting along with all the other workers. Managers feel free to fire employees if any employee is not maintaining a certain performance. Your pay, that can come at company's discretion. It's not mandatory. If you're not doing a good job, that's when you're going to get fired and you're not going to get paid for not doing the right work. In Europe, the only reason for termination is criminal behavior. Dismissed employees receive a severance package of 3 months full pay. Executives receive a full year with vacation pay, which sounds pretty nice. Japan, think of their employees as an extension of family. Expect them to be there for life. They'll ask employees personal questions, not seen so much in the U.S., and only fire employees due to legal reasons. Behavior and emotions. What's considered customary behavior may not be acceptable in other cultures. In the U.S., people tend to talk louder in public compared to other cultures, like to have their own space. Courtesy is important. One person priority rather than age or wealth. South American culture, people tend to not care so much about personal space, and they'll have no problem in big crowds of people standing real close to each other. In Europe, they speak lower, and they like their personal space a little bit more. And bribery, that's really frowned upon in U.S. culture, such as in the Middle East and Africa. This is completely normal. It's important to know a society's business and social customs when making and conducting business decisions. This can be the key to a successful or failed business venture. And these are all our references. I hope you can see them all, but that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.